Welcome to it, guys. We are live at 11 this fine Sunday morning so that we can touch bases with Mr. Kevin Maher from La de Taipa, Macau. And
Gonna be a great one.
for sure, link has been sent to Mr. Maher. And in the meantime, as we're catching up on, I've got another book. So when we go back with Becky, for the travel and paranormal, I've got Erie, Georgia. So I'm going to have some tales from that. And I think Becky's
Also
going to,
looking forward to that.
yeah, that's going to be great. We got a bunch of them lined up. We can run them down real quick while we wait for Kevin.
Yeah.
Um,
We got Nick Guillory watching. Welcome in, my friend.
hey, Nick, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. So we've got Kevin Meyer today. We've got Skitchfall next weekend, a local band in the Michigan. Oh, Kevin's chiming in right now as we speak, so we will update that later.
All right.
Very good, very good. Kevin,
Hello, how's it going?
good. How
How's
are
it
you, man?
going?
Not too bad.
We really appreciate your time, Kevin.
Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you good.
Yep.
You
Audio's good? Okay.
you hear us good?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Very good, very
Awesome.
good. So I just wanted to touch bases on Peck with you for a little bit before we move on to your travels and where you're at now and all that. Oh,
Okay. We're live right now as well,
yeah,
by the
we're
way.
live up on
Okay.
Facebook. Um, so I don't remember how old are you, if you don't mind me asking.
55.
55. Okay, so I figured you're
Born in 1970.
okay. I figured you're a few years older than me. Did you graduate in Peck?
No, it was I was there until my senior year, and then the last year I my parents moved to another town, and then they moved back. So
Oh,
my
okay.
brother was graduated in Peck, and I graduated in a school called Homer.
Ah, okay. So Mark did, and then Mark was married to Valerie. Unfortunately, she passed away not
Yep,
long.
about a year and a half ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
last March. I think it was March, about a year, over a year ago.
Okay. So you guys, so on your Facebook page it says you're from Port Huron. Is that correct? Were you born
That's where
there?
my parents live, but I would have lived in Peck from eighth grade, half of eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. So most of my high
Oh,
school years were in Peck. So most of my when I think of my high school, my I think when I think of growing up, I think of Peck. But I
okay.
also lived in
Gotcha.
a number of other towns too. There's maybe seven, six, seven different towns, something like that. Schools, I mean.
Okay. So
Gotcha.
I kind of did the same thing. So I don't know if you remember me. Obviously, you're 5 years older or 4 years older because I'll be 52. So 3 years, three and a half, whatever it is. So I graduated in 92. What year would you have graduated?
88.
88. Okay. Um,
Yep. So I think I would have known, I guess your cousins, I guess. There's
yeah,
quite a
yeah,
few Troy, Van Conant.
yeah, yeah.
There's a
Butch.
handful of other ones. I think Jay was
Yeah.
Troy's brother, I think. So
No,
I think I used to see them when they were little,
well, Jay's a
when they were young.
cousin. They're cousins, but yeah,
Oh, they're cousins. Okay.
yeah. Um,
So
yeah, very cool. So was wasn't your dad a principal there at one point?
yeah, he was at in Peck, he was I think he might have been the superintendent.
Okay,
He was
superintendent.
he was often a principal and sometimes a superintendent, and I kind of forget which ones are which.
Do you know
That's
what
pretty
years
cool.
those were? Because I remember Mr. Randolph when I was young. I don't know if you remember him or not.
I do. Yep, he was my teacher for a while.
Okay,
I think my dad. I don't remember, but I would have been there. Let me see, 87, maybe 83 to 87, something like that. I think
okay,
maybe he was the principal. I think he was the superintendent, but I can't remember.
okay. Yeah, just
Um,
curious. It's pretty neat that there's so many people from Peck and the diversity where everybody's kind of went all over the place, and did different
yep,
things. It's actually pretty cool from that little town.
yep.
Um,
Definitely.
So so it's a good thing because we're obviously you're 12 hours ahead. It's 11:05 or so there. Uh,
Yep, that's right.
um, so when did you leave Peck before we move on to where you're at now?
So I would have my parents they would have left when I was 17, and they moved to Homer for 1 year, and then they moved right back to Peck again. So
Oh,
and
okay.
then they stayed in Lexington. I think actually they were living in I think oh yeah they moved back to Peck. They stayed another 5 years or something like that, and then they moved to Lexington for 20 years, and then they moved to Port Huron maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Okay.
So when I go back, I just go to Port Huron now usually. And then my dad has a lot of family in Port Sanilac, so I'll see some of them in
Okay.
Port Sanilac.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, I seen that you had been up visiting last, I don't know, last 2 years maybe in the summers. I seen some of your pictures.
yeah, I went when Val passed away.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
able to go there, so that was the last time. And it's just kind of random other times.
Okay. Um, so I guess we start. So you are in, I don't know, I'll probably not do well in this pronunciation, but it is La de Taipa, Macau. Is that right?
I'm in Macau. Yeah. Should I explain that a little bit or?
Sure. So I
Um,
wanted to, well, I was going to tell our listeners, so the daylight savings time originally, when we had first spoke, you were 13 hours ahead, but then, so in my research, I find that the last time that daylight savings time was acknowledged there was October 21st of 1979. So you guys don't play the stupid daylight savings time thing there.
that's right.
That's
Yep.
good.
There's no such thing.
Uh,
Nice.
so yeah, tell us a little bit about where you're at if you'd like.
Yeah, so I'm living in the city of Macau, and Hong Kong is the big city nearby.
Okay.
And just a little bit of history. Hong Kong was they're both part of China, but Hong Kong was the British one and Macau was the Portuguese one. So
Okay.
the name that you read was like that means like type of island. Ilia is like island, so
Oh,
it's like the Portuguese language.
okay.
So but usually here they would just call it we would just say we're in Macau.
Macau.
And
Okay.
then Taipa would be like a district or like a part of the city.
Okay.
Like it's like a
Okay.
neighborhood of the city.
So in my little bit of research, I found that what it states that Macau is an SAR, which is a special administrative region of China, similar to Hong Kong,
Yep,
uh,
that's right.
known globally for its massive gambling and tourism industries.
Yeah,
Was under
tons and tons of
Portuguese
tourists.
administration for 442 years before returning to China in 99.
Yep, that's right. So most of
Interesting.
my good friends here are usually Portuguese. I actually have all kinds of friends, but there's the Portuguese community is pretty welcoming and friendly, pretty
Okay, very
social.
very cool. So,
So cool.
um, what made you decide to end up there? What's your vocation there?
So I teach English at the university. So and I have permanent residency here, so I
Okay.
can stay here forever if I want. And I also have access into China through the permanent residency, so I can actually go into China. I don't need a visa. I just use a card. So I'm
Uh,
kind of welcome to go in and out of China, and I'm right next to the border. We're part of China, but we're not part of China. So that means that I like here we have Macau and Hong Kong has their own government, their own currency, their own legal system, and then China they kind of work together basically. So
okay.
we're a SAR, which means that we're part of China, but we're like act like a different country as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I did see that. So I was going to mention that the currency, is it called Pataka?
Yep,
Okay. And you have your own legal system, like kind of what you just mentioned, right? Separate from China's. Tell us about that.
I'll get the money real quick.
Okay.
So so yeah, the legal system is different. But actually they're pretty like the Hong Kong and the like we in Macau they'll take all of the Hong Kong money as well. So we use both currencies, but most people use the Macau money. But then I can use I guess it's like being in Michigan where you can
Oh,
see Canadian money as
Patakas.
well.
Yep. Oh,
So
cool.
yep, you got
That is
patakas.
cool.
So what would that be? What would that be equal to in American money there?
This would be $12.
$12. Okay.
And then we got some other ones too. So
Wow, very cool.
Super cool. Mm-mm.
And
yeah, we got big
how long
ones.
have you been there?
I've been here for 13 years in
Wow.
Macau. And then before
Wow.
here, I was in Korea for off and on for 12 years, and I was in Japan for. So I just came up on my 30-year anniversary living in Asia.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So is it because of your teaching? Is that what your travels?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
started. So what happened was I grew up in Michigan, and then I started traveling around in the United States. So I lived in I guess at that time Oregon, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Portland, Oregon, Grand Canyon, Arizona, Wyoming National Park, Yellowstone National Park.
Wow.
And I was just kind of moving around and meeting a lot of interesting people. So I was kind of finding out more about the United States and living in different places. And then when I was in Portland, I started hearing about people that could go and teach English in Korea. So then I started getting involved with that community and finding out how they were doing it. And then in 1996, I saw a newspaper in the newspaper saw an ad in the newspaper in Portland, Oregon, and it just asked if somebody wanted to teach English in Korea. So they offered a
Really?
one-way airline ticket, and I took it, and I
Wow.
just ended up in South Korea in 1996, and I liked it, and I did some other stuff too, moving around to lots of other different countries, but I kept coming back to Korea. So I was in and out of Korea for 12 years. Then I got married at the end of that 12-year period, and when wife and kids moved to Japan. My wife and I moved to Japan, and then I had two kids, still have them,
Okay.
and then moved here exactly 13 years ago. So
Wow,
it's very cool.
that's pretty cool. So did you you had obviously already had the schooling to be a teacher? I mean,
Nope, I didn't have any
no.
schooling at that
Oh,
time. So
okay.
I graduated from university, but I didn't have that as a background.
Okay.
And then I didn't need it because there was almost no foreigners in Korea that were doing those kind of things in the 1990s.
Okay.
And now there is, but in 1990s there was almost nobody there. So when I went there, um, it was before the internet. There's nothing like that. So when you went, you were just
Right.
there. Like you didn't know, you didn't have access to TVs or, I mean, we had TVs, but all the American stuff was gone. So I
Okay.
just kind of liked it, I guess. And then I started learning how to teach English, and then later, just through experience, and then later, maybe when I was in Korea, what I was doing was I was traveling, so I was constantly getting a little bit of money, and then I was travel. So I would down to South America for a year, I was in Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, mostly Brazil, but I was just kind of moving around and went to Eastern Europe to try to live as well, and then I went back to Korea. So I kept kind of found a way to make money in South Korea. So for those 12 years, I was just in and out all the time of Korea, and I'd sign a contract or I'd make, teaching English in different ways, and then I would just go and travel again. And then after doing that for 12 years in South Korea, I ended up getting married, and then I kind of settled down, and then I started becoming more serious. And then I wasn't moving around and traveling. I just went into the university system, tried to get all my stuff set up better so that I was more professional. And then I just kind of went very strong, trying to get as professional as I could. And I guess I'm still at that spot today. I'm still like more professional, but for 12 years it was more just travel, really.
That's very cool. Something I'd love to do. We love to travel, but obviously it takes money. Um, but no, South Korea, that's a very interesting place to me. What was it like there?
So I was there in the 1990s, and in the 1990s there was that was before all of the popularity. So now it's like K-pop and Korean movies and Korean TV shows, but back
Oh,
then it was basically just American military bases, and then suddenly these English teachers were coming in, which was I would have been one of the first groups that came in. So now when I meet people that taught English in Korea, like at that time, you would only meet people that had just got there. So you wouldn't meet anybody that I met one person back in the 90s, and he was like a military American guy. He was in the Air Force, and then he just kind of stayed, and he left the military. And sometimes the military guys will just stay, so they
okay.
won't go home sometimes. So you'll see them around. So sometimes you'd see somebody like that or a Peace Corps person, but as far as like people teaching English, there was almost nobody. in the 1990s, and the 1990s is when Korea really started to bring people in. So I came in at that time period, and then now if I go to Korea, I meet people like me that was there in the 1990s. I'll meet them everywhere. I'll meet them all over Asia. People that were there in the 90s,
Oh,
and
very
that was kind
cool.
of a big gateway for a lot of people to come into Asia who were American, Canadian, such like that. And then after that, like, a lot of them were also going to Japan at that time, but they would go. Japan was more like late 80s that they were bringing in a lot of foreigners, and then Korea was the 1990s.
Wow, very
And,
cool.
yeah,
That's
and as
like,
far as money goes, the money was really good at that time. So we used to um, like the money. Everything's different now, but like at that time, I made $2,000 a month. But I used to have a free apartment when I was in South Korea.
oh,
There's a
okay.
system when they employ you, so basically I would just get like $2,000 a month, and I could just eat and drink or do whatever, and then
Save
most of
money.
that money I would save, and then I would just travel and then spend it and then come back. So I didn't really need money. But if I was in the United States, you have to pay a lot of rent, you have to pay car stuff,
Right.
like you just have so many expenses in the United States. But the
Okay.
lifestyle over here is not like that. So you don't need cars. Public transportation is really good, and like even now the rent's pretty low.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah.
That's the military thing is very similar to where so I come down here to Georgia. We've been for about 5 years now in Grovetown. It's near Augusta,
Okay.
Georgia. And so we're next to Fort Gordon, which is an 80 square mile military base. I mean,
Yep.
you can literally hear machine gun fire from where we live when they're practicing.
Yep.
And so the area is just huge, and there's people. Matter of fact, we keep an eye on license plates, and we're only four shy of every state in the country right now that around here,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it's growing massively with subdivisions, because of the base, because of the military, I'm assuming. But so
Yep.
that's interesting. Now, in looking where you're at, of course, I have to look geographically, where you're at. It's very cool. You are almost 800 miles further south than we are latitudinally.
Yep. It's pretty warm here. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're pretty much summer all the time, huh?
Pretty
No,
much. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yep. It's nice. I like
What
it.
what's the
Yes, I see my dad's little yeah, he's
right?
like I summer all the time, eh?
You got extra
Uh,
room? What
yeah.
so well, we're gonna go through some pictures, so maybe we can do that right now if you don't mind.
Yeah. Actually, I'll share a couple other stories about South Korea if you something that's kind of interesting because when I first went there in the 1990s, I wasn't really used to the fact that that was kind of a conflict area. So
Right.
when I first arrived in South Korea, I was teaching English and I knew where the military bases were and things like that, but I wasn't part of it, right? But because I'm not in the military, but there was events that would happen at that time. So, for example, in North Korea, they brought a submarine and it crashed on shore in South Korea, and then
Wow.
everybody in that submarine had to scramble back home, and they basically like shot and killed farmers and anybody trying to get back to the border.
Wow.
And when those things would happen, we would get all these sirens would go off, and then and me first time abroad at that time in the 1990s, it felt like something really big was going to go down, and then those things would just be. Then later, I kind of realized that they're like a common occurrence. They're constantly
Wow.
happening, like these emergency
Really?
situations.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A little scary, huh?
it was at the time, and then it's funny because then suddenly you get so used to it that you don't think anything of it. So if like the first few times, it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I have to go to the base? Do I have to try to get evacuated? Do I? But then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, that's just a siren. Like
Right.
it doesn't mean
Right.
anything. So then you just kind of ignore it because that used to happen a lot at that time. And then I guess I didn't really think about it after later. I didn't
All
kind of
right.
stop thinking about it. But yeah,
What would you say was the hardest thing to adjust to? I guess that
when
kind
I
of
was,
helps lead into my question.
I think when I was in South Korea, at that particular time, there was, um, I guess the biggest adjustment for a lot of us at that time was that because there was almost no foreigners at that time, everybody would get stared at a lot.
Oh, right.
What I
Yeah.
mean by that is like the coworkers. So I worked with some other foreigners that were from U.S. and Canada, and I'll just give you some stories. So like one of my coworkers, she went out somewhere like another part of the city. That city is like 6 million people, and then when
Wow.
she other people would tell me. like if I met some Korean person on the subway, like somewhere else, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I saw you 6 months ago, and you were with this person, and she had blonde curly hair, and you were with this guy, and he had red hair, and you were like," they would know every detail, and it was just
Right.
like we were there was so few of us, and then they knew my coworkers, so like they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I took your." There was one of my coworkers was kind of heavy, so they're like, "Oh yeah, we brought her in a taxi like 9 months ago," and like so like they knew like every detail.
Okay.
And then actually, and
That's
every time we went out, people would join us, because they hadn't seen foreigners. And then at that time in the 1990s, the older generation was pretty pro-American because of the Korean War. But then the younger generation had different thinking, different people had different thinking. But the older generation would always be like, USA number one when they would see you. So like I remember that a lot at that time in the 1990s. And then later politics keeps changing, so you get different
Right.
reaction. But when I first got there, a lot of the older generation would always like really be glad to meet me or interact with me or eat with me, if I was
that's
in a
cool.
restaurant. Yeah,
Very cool.
Yeah, that is very cool, man. So yeah, I got some pictures if you don't mind. We'll do a screen share and you can tell us about the places where you're at. Um,
sure.
yeah, if I can get this right without messing it up. There's always some technical stuff, trying to do this. Let's see here. Let me know if you
Yep, I
can.
think you grabbed a lot of those off of the Facebook. So I have
Yeah, yeah.
so a lot of these will probably be more recent. I didn't really take that many photos a long time ago.
Okay. Do you see that
So I
okay?
Yep, I see it pretty well. It's
You
yeah.
want to tell us about where you're at there and
That one's in Italy. So that's it.
okay.
Uh coastline. It's south. It's near Naples, so it's
Wow.
a small town on the riverside. Um,
It's amazing
so
how they
that
built
one,
the housing is built like that.
yep,
That's neat.
yeah. There's something like that in Busan, Korea too. That they colored all the houses, but it's also like built into the. But this
Really?
one is Italy.
Okay. Now this one, I have a
That one's
question.
Macau.
Okay, right. So now is that purposely like Campbell's cans or what's up with
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
a lot of Asia will have a lot of like Macau a little bit, but this is Macau, but this is the Andy Warhol artist. I mean, like a replica of that.
Oh, okay.
And then they just it's like that place is like a pizza restaurant, and so
Oh,
they grab some kind of Americana
okay.
um symbolism from the Andy Warhol. So and then people would take pictures of it. It's like a good background picture. But that's actually Macau. But when I was in Korea and Japan, you'd see that a lot too. You would see
Oh,
like
okay.
American popular culture stuff, and
Very
especially
cool.
in bars, restaurants, and stuff like that.
I was definitely curious about that because I'm like, that looks like, I don't know where you at here.
That one is Macau. So
Okay.
Macau has this city had historically a lot of fireworks factories back 80 years ago or 100 years ago. So a lot of the fireworks in the world would originate in this part of the world, in
Ah,
Guangdong and Macau, Hong Kong probably. But anyways, the tradition here, there's like fireworks for almost everything. So
oh,
that's
really?
yeah, that's in Macau. There's to the right next to my son, behind my son, is a couple of the
Yep.
casinos.
Okay.
So Macau makes a lot of revenue from the casinos.
See, that's odd because down here in Georgia, the New Year, they do fireworks every year. They get stands up and everybody's buying fireworks. Uh,
They do that here too. That you can buy
do
it
they?
on the river, so you can set off your own fireworks, some pretty big ones as well. But they also
Okay.
have all the city ones. So
Oh,
Very
heck
those
cool.
yeah.
are the city ones, but both are available.
Very cool. No, I couldn't.
This photo is Portugal.
Portugal. Okay. Yeah, I was
Yep.
trying to
So
make out some of the writing, but
yep. So that's like I think it's either a live music bar in Lisbon. So
okay.
and here in Macau, I'll meet a lot of people from Portugal. So I'll have a lot of connections. They'll tell me, where to go, what to do if I about Portugal. So I got pretty interested in Portugal. So I went there and traveled around.
Too cool.
Crash Burkhardt says, "From now you see me, Macau is the magic capital of the world."
Oh, okay. Who said that?
His name is Crash Burkhardt.
His real name.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure if he wants his first name
All right.
said or not.
Oh, okay. He's that's yeah, that's right. That's on the chat, right? I can't see in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. I try to keep an eye on the listeners, so if they have questions for you or us.
There's a lot of casinos here, so so there's a lot of money here, a lot of money. So
Very-
Mhm.
casinos, I think they make something like 4 or 5 times more than Las Vegas in revenue.
Wow.
Okay, I was gonna say because I had one of my questions was, is it true that Macau is the like the Vegas of Asia?
100%. Yep. So the
That's
Wow.
very
casinos,
cool.
yep. Some of the casino owners they sign contracts to the government of Macau to bring their casinos here. So the Win is here. The MGM. There's two MGMs, two Wins. They have them on both sides of the city. Is has a Macau side and a Taipa side, and then the Taipa side has the bigger casinos. So a lot of those guys are here as well, and there's a lot of celebrities here. So there's Ramsey. I don't know the celebrity culture very well, but there's a famous chef who's here. So
Oh, really?
he's yeah, and then there's a famous soccer player, the British one. I don't know my soccer players either, but he designed a lot of the rooms in some of the casinos. So there's a celebrity culture that comes here as well from United States and from Europe and different places. I guess those guys are both British, but uh, but that culture is here too. The celebrities and stuff like
Wow.
that.
Very cool. Now,
Yep.
Absolutely.
is this macaw here?
This one is Korea, so that's
Korea.
up in
Okay.
Seoul. So that's Korea has a lot of pretty cool bars and restaurants. There's and it's really photogenic. So whenever I'm there, I can always capture some good background imagery. But yeah, that's Korea. That's visiting
And
there.
also, pertaining to what Crash had said, that's a quote from the movie Now You See Me about
That's
the
what I
magic
thought.
capital of, yeah. So that's what he was referring to anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was talking about. Glad we.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that are coming through here too. There's a James Bond one that was here too. So they have
Oh, heck
a
yeah.
replica in the ocean about this James Bond one. I think it was called Goldfinger. I don't know my movies very
Oh, okay.
well, but there was a replica here. It's in the ocean, and then now they did a replica in one of the casinos. But it's like a James Bond reference as well. So
That's
Wow,
so
very
cool.
cool. No, this is
and
your
Jackie Chan too.
is this your daughter?
That,
I
that's
take
my
it.
daughter, and that's the beach here in Macau. It's one of
Oh,
the beaches.
that's cool. What body of water is that?
Um, I guess what would they call that? We're kind of like I guess that would be I don't know what that would be called. It's kind of the tributary where the ocean comes
Okay.
into
Okay.
between Hong Kong and Macau, but I guess they call it like Greater Bay or Greater Bay.
Okay.
Okay.
Is
So it'd
fishing
be Pacific Ocean, but I don't know what
right?
part.
Is is fishing a big industry there at all, or is it even little? Or
Um, there's a lot of people that will fish, um, but I don't know if that's an industry so much. They have in Macau, the jurisdiction is mostly owned by China. So Hong Kong has is a lot larger than Macau, and they have access to like hundreds of islands over there. So they'll have more rights to all of their outside of their um, territory. So Macau will be a little bit stricter. So I think that most of the water rights would probably belong to China, probably for an industry. I mean,
oh, okay.
but there's definitely like yachts and tour boats and stuff like that that would have access. Those are my kids. I think we were visiting United States, and I think that's either in Detroit or we went through the Dallas airport. Airport, so that car Roses might be the Dallas airport. I think.
Oh, okay. Now, how old are your kids?
They are 17 and 13. So that photo, they were probably um, 15 and 11, I think, probably.
Okay, yeah, your son just turned 17, right? I think I was wished him a happy birthday
Yep.
not long ago. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Um, got a few more here.
That one is Kazakhstan. So that's Eastern Orthodox church.
That's very cool.
So,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
Kaz
actually,
Kazakhstan, you
on,
said, correct?
Yep, Kazakhstan. I get also as an aside, I can't remember right now, but I think I've been to something like 88 countries or something like that.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And a lot of them I've been to many, many times. So like Thailand and Philippines, I've been to like 40 times, and
Oh
Wow.
Malaysia
wow.
like 10 times or whatever. So,
My
but like
life's
those
Incredible.
boring.
churches, I've been to Ethiopia 3 times. So the Ethiopia also has those Orthodox churches as well.
Wow.
But
Well, my life's boring. I've been to two countries, Canada and US. So anyways,
Still counts though, right? I
where is
mean,
this and what type of mangled up root tree? What is that?
I can't see the picture fully, but I think I'm pretty sure it's Thailand. But like the part that I can't see is like a lot of times in Thailand, they'll sometimes here too, but they'll put little shrines inside. Like the trees will be like have a spiritual
Oh, okay.
um, entity, so they'll like put a shrine. Like they'll treat it like spiritual.
Right.
So
Okay.
very cool.
I can't see that tree. If I don't know if I took pictures because it was so big, but there's a lot
Oh,
of trees like that around here too in Macau. But in
really?
Thailand, a lot of them will be have more spiritual relevance for the Thai people.
Okay. And then finally, your family there,
Yep. So that is a hotel in Thailand. So and
Thailand.
that shirt
Okay.
I have is Koh Samui, which is also in Thailand. And so that's like a hotel or no Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Very cool. So, did your family travel with you a lot, now or?
we travel a lot when they were younger, but now they're getting older, so they still. I travel more by myself, but then when they were little, I would take them more. But then sometimes now it's everybody has their own thing going on, so sometimes I have a strong passion for travel, so I just keep going regardless if. But if they want to come with me, I'll take them, of course. But
Very cool.
That's cool.
What, how did you, I mean, what made you decide to, that you want to try? Was it just because of the teaching you found obviously the article in the newspaper once you started there? Is that kind of what triggered the traveling thing with you? Or
um,
did you always want to travel?
I always wanted to travel, so that was
Okay.
like I I guess just to kind of fill in the gap. So when I was young, a lot of people had their parents would buy those encyclopedias. I don't know,
Yep.
probably
Oh
yours
yeah.
did
Yep.
too. So like the encyclopedias in our house, like I used to look at all the countries, so they all of them had like dirty finger marks on them. Even
Okay.
today, they're still sitting in there. You know,
Nice.
1970 encyclopedias there in Port Huron, Michigan.
Okay.
But all of the pages in those were like just like dirt because I was a kid. You know, you'd go outside and play, and then I would open
Oh,
those things
nice.
up and I would just read it. And at that time, we didn't have internet, we didn't have
Right.
phones, we didn't have TV shows were pretty boring. So that was like, so I'd read those things, and they're just like encyclopedias are not that interesting now in 2026, but in 1980s,
For sure.
they're
Yeah.
amazing.
That,
So I
that,
always had that interest. And then I think I heard it recently. My mom, I always was when I was young, I always looked at maps all the time. And I'd always be like, okay, when I get to Africa, I'm going to go here and then here and then here and then here. And I would I would plan routes as a kid. But I was like you, like I would be like, I don't have any money. I don't know how to do that. And
okay.
that's the most American people, not only American, but I mean, most people think that way. Like, oh, I need to have money to travel. But actually you don't, you can do whatever you want, like
All right.
with or without money. So
Well, McCall, here I come. Uh,
yeah,
so that's crazy. So I was looking
I
into,
knew it.
yeah, I know I was looking into a flight, man. It's like 12-hour flight, I think, or something from here to
yeah,
where you're at.
probably 12, 15, 18 hours probably
Yeah,
to
that's crazy.
Florida.
It's like 8,500 miles from here,
Yeah,
which
that sounds about right.
yeah, that's crazy. Like
When
literally,
when I was younger, when I was younger in the 1990s, the you could stay in a hostel. Like a hostel is like there's hotels and hostels, and at that time period, those are like $2 a night,
wow.
like almost everywhere in the world. So when I was young, young meaning like in my 20s and 30s, I could if I just had a little bit of money, I could just go for months because I could I
Wow.
eat food for like $1. The hostel was $2. So I'm living on like way less than $10 a day easily.
That's
But
super cool.
now it's hard to do because I I could still do it, but like at that time when I was in my 20s and 30s, like I really liked being around other people in their 20s, to be
Right.
staying in hostels and dealing with it. But now as a 55-year-old, it's like I don't want to be talking about travel with a bunch of people that are 30 years younger than me.
Right,
So
right,
now
right.
I end up like in hotels and I have to pay more money, because I don't want to live that cheaply and travel.
So do
But
you,
but but anyways, like people can do that pretty easily if they want to. They can
that's very cool. So
yep.
Absolutely.
do you, no, do you teach full time right now still or?
Yep. So I teach at the university, and I get 5 months of paid vacation. So I teach for 7 months, and then I have 5 months. So that's why I'll travel and do whatever around that schedule because I'm still getting paid. So I'm still getting my salary, and
Wow.
then the wife is at work and kids are at school. So I'll just like I'll still travel, but I'll try to rein myself in a little bit. So
McCall, make room. I'm on my way. That sounds great. That sounds great.
yeah.
So the languages that there are what, English, Portuguese, Chinese?
Yep. So here they'll speak Cantonese is the Hong Kong and Macau language here. So that would be a little bit different than the Mandarin, which is the standard Chinese
Okay.
language. And but you'll also hear Mandarin here too, because most of the casinos are filled with mainlander. We call them mainlander. We call the um, um, people that come from China. We call them mainland China, and then here we're like a island kind of sort of.
Right.
So
Okay.
so we just call them mainlanders, but usually we'll say most of the mainlanders speak Mandarin, but some of them will speak Cantonese too. And then Portuguese is here because of the Portuguese, and then English is here because British in Hong Kong, and then casinos will have a lot of English as well because of the international tourism. And then you'll also hear Filipino languages, Indonesian languages, because of some of the workers are usually from Southeast Asia.
Wow.
So you'll see a lot of them. I think it's something like Macau, something like 3% Filipino, 3% Vietnamese, 2% Indonesian, and, and then there's like Chinese people from like Chinese Burmese, Chinese Indonesian who maybe they're Chinese that lived in Southeast Asia and then they came back and then they might live here. So they're around. You get lots of people from the Portuguese speaking world, which is like Brazilians. There's Portuguese speaking from African countries that were colonized by Portugal. So some of them will be here. Some of them will be sometimes white, sometimes black, because Portugal um, was all over in parts of Africa, and so you had large like white Portuguese populations in different countries there, like Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, and so some of them came here because they were all kind of colonies historically. So some of them come this way, so I'll meet them around here. So it's pretty interesting. A lot of the people that you meet in this area.
Very cool. So with the language, obviously you've been there, you said 13 years. So do you speak any, I'm sure you speak some at least, some of them languages or no?
Not really. I should, but
No.
my daughter speaks Chinese fluently, so she reads and
Oh,
writes. The
okay.
wife is working in a casino, so she's learning Mandarin. But for me, since I'm teaching English all the time,
Speak English, yeah.
I'm not, and then I'm dealing with my kids, and then when I socialize, I usually socialize in English, or I'll hang out with the Portuguese speaking people. So I'll pick up Portuguese, but then my Chinese is embarrassingly low.
Okay.
And then
So,
the other thing too is people will speak to me in English, like Chinese people will speak to me in English when they see me
okay.
in Macau.
Very cool. Now, Chinese, isn't Chinese writing vertical?
Um, Japanese it has uses Chinese characters, and that one is vertical. So that one will go like that way
Oh,
and
okay.
backwards, and so it'll look like Chinese because it's the Chinese characters, the kanji that they use, and
Ah,
then the Chinese will be um, like traditional, like our
oh, okay.
correction.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was in Japan for like yeah, almost 6 years as well.
That, yeah,
Well, when I
Japan
was
must
in Korea, I used to pick up more Korean in Korea
really,
because
okay.
I was single and I was really trying to I had to actually when I was in Korea there was very few foreigners, so I had to read menus and buses, so I had to learn Korean to eat and to get on buses. So I learned how to read and write Korean, and then speaking was a lot weaker. Um, but then when I got to Japan, I just didn't really start having my kids, and I just didn't study anymore. So
Japan is very fascinating to me as well. What was it like living there? You said 6 years you lived there?
yep, Japan was great. So it was really different than Korea because culturally, um, Koreans can be very straightforward and say what's ever on their mind, and they can be quite abrasive in a
Oh,
good
nice.
way or bad way or whatever. But in Japan, they're like super polite. So when I was in Japan, it was like really peaceful. People had a lot of respect on the buses and trains, so it was like always quiet. And I don't know, I liked it. I enjoyed being in Japan. It was the people were
So
really
very
easy to be
cool.
around.
What did you do in Japan? Just live there for a
I
while,
was
or did you
teaching
teach
English
there?
there.
Did you? Okay.
So I was teaching. So I was when I was in Korea, I used to teach in these language institutes, and at that time I was just kind of traveling, going in and out, and then after doing that for 9 years, the last 3 years in South Korea, I got a job at a university, and because I'd been there so long, and I kind of had a lot of contacts and connections, so when I started teaching at the university in Korea, then I had another situation where I think I had 4 months off a year at that time. So then I started using my summers to go to graduate school to start learning how to teach English and started doing all these other things. And then when I went to Japan, I got another university job there, and then I started building up a lot of credentials through conferences and publications. So I just started really putting all my energy into that, and
Okay.
and it was easier because I had two kids at home, and I needed to be in the house while they were little. So then I was always putting all my effort into that. So then I just really started becoming a lot more serious about it. And then even today, I'm still, like I'll have all the skills now, so I don't need to improve myself, but I can, but I'll just keep teaching at the university level. So for that, you need an MA, master's degree, and then a bunch of other stuff too. So I mean,
Well, that's
at
I
the
was
level that I'm at. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you what type of how high of education did you have to be to teach the English there?
MA minimum, and then some people have a PhD, but I have so much experience that I was able to get hired with the MA.
Okay.
Um, and but then when I was in Korea in the 1990s, it was a lot different because not many people were doing this kind of thing. So at that particular time, people would get university jobs with no experience and nothing because the demand
Really?
was so high. So when I was first in Korea in the 1990s, I was working kind of a bad job teaching like 7 days a week, and I quit. And then a Korean person, contacted me right away and said, "Oh, like, do you want to get a job at a university? We want you to stay in Korea."
Right.
So I just quit this job that basically sucked, and then they were going to offer me a university job with a bunch of holiday, and I didn't take it because I was like, I just want to travel, so I just left. And I was like, oh, if they ask me that once, so of course I can do it again. But then, of course, that didn't happen again like that because the 90s came and went, and then it's like
Right.
more competitive. So now it's extremely competitive. So now I have some of my friends that are still in Korea, even though it's been 30 years. Some of them have been they were able to get university jobs like 20 years ago, but now they're competing with all these other people. So if they lose their job, they usually can't get another job because they're not qualified. But
Right.
but luckily I went and got qualified, and I took it pretty serious about 20 years ago when a lot of them did not do that. So there's a lot of people here that are still kind of hanging around from another time
Ahead of your
period when they,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Very interesting. So do you now over there, do they have like we do here, like Social Security, anything like that, benefits
Yep.
or
So here I'll get those things here through the university and through the city. There's a lot of money here, so there's a lot of programs like that.
okay.
So actually, when my son turns 18, he's autistic actually, but so he's like a special needs person,
Okay.
basically. But he might be able to get his house, strangely enough, because we have residency. So there's like programs to make sure people are housed,
Okay.
even
Wow.
if they're like disabilities or whatever like that too. So some of the other people that are autistic, we know that community. So some of them, their kids turn 18 and then they can get like a social housing stuff. Social housing here is a lot different than the United States because there isn't the crime and violence that's associated with that in the United States.
Really?
So here there's more like elderly people or those people, the people that work hard their whole life, but didn't
Right.
make high incomes. So
Okay.
they'll be taken care of in some way like that.
Interesting.
That is
So
awesome.
do you actually have like any plans, like a type of retirement or anything, or are you just going to kind of go on with it?
So I'll get the U.S. Social Security, but I'll get the minimum because I didn't work in the United States.
Right.
I think I put in like maybe 10 years between 16 to 26 years old.
Okay.
So I'll get the minimum of that, and then I'll get something here, and then some kind of lump sum, and then basically what I'll probably do is I'll probably like I don't think I could afford to go back to the United States and live. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could get a car, and try to
Right.
support myself like that. Um, but here, I don't need a car. The rents are a lot lower, so I could go into China right across the border over here, and I could probably get an apartment. I was talking about it to some other people over there, so I could get an apartment for like maybe $200 or $300 a month.
Wow.
So later, if I'm on retirement income, like U.S. Social Security, I could still have a pretty good life over here. But if I went back to the United States, I don't know. Like I think the rents
Right.
are like
Oh,
two
there's
thousand
yeah,
dollars a month or something like that.
crazy. And yeah, 1,500 I think is basically the minimum anywhere. 12,
So I think
1,500, I think.
too. Then you have
1360
to
here
get.
where I live.
Wow.
So I think too. Then I think you have to get cars as well, right? So I think the United States is pretty car dependent. So it's hard to like.
Oh,
I think it'd
definitely.
be hard to be like
Yeah.
80 years old in the United States and trying to drive when you
It's
can't see.
definitely everything. So we have a vehicle, a Jeep we leave here, and then we have a van in Michigan. We also have a truck and a motorcycle, so four vehicles, a fleet to take care of. Yeah, everything's expensive, insurance, obviously
Yeah,
fuel and all that. So yeah, I get it for sure. That's neat.
yeah.
That's neat that you can do that. So now, what about like food shopping, like groceries? Is it similar there? Do you like grocery stores or?
Yep. So we have all the grocery stores here. I guess the big difference here than the United States is that like if I go back in the United States, I brought my wife there a number of times. So we were driving around in the thumb of Michigan, and she
Yeah.
wanted some fruits. So she really
Okay.
wanted like I want some apples and oranges, and I was telling her like you're not going to find them anywhere, Like all we have is convenience stores and gas stations, and when you go in, it's all like Doritos and Twinkies and colas. So she was like really frustrated, and she's like, I gotta eat, and I'm like, I don't know, we can't, because it's so hard to find them. But here, like the system here is that all that stuff is like what they do here is everything is walkable, so you don't like in the United States you buy everything in the store and then you have to make sure it's preserved and refrigerated and whatever.
Right.
But here you can just buy it on your way home because everything is walkable, so you buy your fresh fruits and vegetables and they'll be like super super cheap, and then people would just make something at home, or there's tons of street food everywhere too, so you can also just get food in the street, and that would be pretty cheap as well. So there'll be like some old lady or something like that who will cook something. So the food here can be, you can spend as much as you want. So there's like some like there's a lot of like Michelin restaurants here because of the tourism, so you can spend
Okay.
a lot of money on big steaks, and like the best foods in the world would be here as well, and you can spend like unlimited amounts of money, but you can also go the other way too. And then the other thing too is China is right next to us, and then everything in China is like incredibly cheap. So a lot of people who, if they're on like if they're like working in like let's say they're like an older lady who just cleans toilets or something like that, like she can just go into China and just get like, super cheap fruits and vegetables for almost nothing, and then she can sustain herself really easily here. So those options are available as well. So yeah, food is
Very interesting.
yep. And
Yeah.
then the food here, we get because it's an international environment, we'll get a lot of American food, so I can get a lot of American stuff if I want it. Korean is really popular, Japanese is popular, Thailand stuff, I'll see that around. I'll see a lot of Chinese, of course. Everything that's Chinese is here. So there's a lot of options for different types of food.
Very
So if I
cool.
want like Korean ramen, I can get Korean ramen or Japanese ramen or whatever. And American stuff, I can get. Um, I think they got like almost all the chips and stuff like that, and all the sodas and all the
Oh, okay.
let's see that. Yeah,
So do
Uh,
you guys have like the marketplace, like veggie stands, fruit stands type of thing there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's there like the density here is really high density. So like what I mean by that is like when you're in the United States, you have to drive all the time. So like if I go
Right.
back to see my parents in Port Huron, right? Like if I'm sitting in that house and I'm in Port Huron and I want to get some water, I have to get in the car and I have to drive and get water. But it's not like that here because there's vending machines all over the place downstairs. So I can just go downstairs and there's vending machines.
Wow.
There's a 7-Eleven that's like maybe 3 minutes away. So I can just walk over there for 7-Eleven. Um, and just the whole city is just filled with it. So there's like, so basically anywhere out, anytime I go down, I'm actually living on the campus. So I'm on a campus right now, but there's
Oh,
7-Eleven
okay.
and Subway and Pizza Hut on the campus here. But if I go just over there a little ways, then it's all like out your door.
Wow.
So basically, like you have choices of like hundreds of restaurants, and
Wow.
there's be like Korean restaurants, Thai restaurants, a lot of Portuguese restaurants because of the Portuguese. Hamburger places are popular.
Yeah, I need to
Pizza,
stay away from there.
yeah,
Wow, that's neat.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And
neat.
here they have some American stuff too. So they got Five Guys is here.
I seen that. I was
Um,
gonna ask you about that. I seen a Five Guys picture. Yeah.
it's really expensive, but it's here.
Okay.
And they got let's say there's a couple other chain casinos have a couple of them, but I don't go there very often. But there's Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory is in one of the casinos here.
Really?
There used to be a southern one that there used to be a burger one from the south. Um, Whataburger.
Okay.
We don't have
Yeah.
we don't have it in Michigan, but I think it's from Texas. I think, but Whataburger was here for a while, and um, yeah. Anyways, they come and go a little bit.
So
There was a
base.
Taco Bell for a while in the China side.
Okay. So that's interesting. So basically, everybody walks around or like pedal bikes, or they do like them little taxi things where a person will ride, take you like a two-seater in the back or something like that.
They have those, so that would have been those would be the novelty ones for the tourists. So those
Okay.
are around and they're parked outside the casinos, and so those will. I think my understanding is like um, back when it was like colonial times, like when Portuguese was here. I mean, when they like 80 years ago or
Okay.
whatever, like those are really common. So they still have them here for novelty. So a
Uh,
lot of tourists will ride around like that, and they'll just kind of be outside and like go through. So those are
well,
here, but those are like for the tourist industry. But most people will take um, like taxi or Uber,
okay.
um, or you just walk. The bus. There's a train. There's also a train line. So there's
Okay.
like a monorail system thing that goes above ground. So that one is gets you around to the casinos and airport and such like that.
So what about your emergency vehicles? Are they similar, or maybe smaller, but similar to here as far as fire and emergency
Um,
ambulance?
I guess they're kind of similar. I don't
Are
think
live
they're
in,
as
Pops.
big.
Hmm. I
Yeah, I
wonder.
don't think they're as big. But a lot of the buildings here are quite tall. So the fire department, I think, has to have a lot of equipment to deal with the ladders and everything like that in the water. But I think they'll be smaller because I think they have to fit into
Right.
any kind of environment, I guess. Um,
Okay. Huh.
yeah, ambulances are the same. Police are the same. The police are different here than United States. So the police, like they don't like in the United States, they'll like wait for you. They'll pull you over. They don't do that
Mm.
here. So here they never pull you over. They just have cameras up, like speed cameras.
All
So
right.
you'll know where the speed cameras are, and then if you go through that, then it'll just arrive in the mail that you got a ticket.
They're doing
Stop
that.
signs as well. They'll take pictures. Yeah,
They're doing that here now too, a little bit. I mean, probably not as bad as big, but well,
yeah,
interesting. Well, our live stream for some reason just quit, I guess. But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up soon, anyways. But we really appreciate your time, Kevin.
yeah,
It's been very interesting to learn about the culture there, and it'd
Yeah,
have been
super
it'd
interesting.
have been neat to see if you could have went outside during the day and show us around a little bit. But I get it, our times are a little bit
yeah.
off.
Well, if you want to try, if another time you're interested, I could do that. I could find a good location and walk around and and do that.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can have you on again. We're fortunate now. We're getting a lot of people interested in coming on, so we're booked out like almost through the end of May right now. So, we appreciate everybody's time because obviously
Absolutely.
we're no one yet, but we're trying to be. It's cool though. We enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, if I do that, you get a good sense of what the city looks like. I
That
can bring into some of the tourist areas. There's a
Yeah.
lot of old churches here from the Portuguese, so some of those are quite famous.
very cool.
Um, yeah, so
Very cool.
some of them have
Absolutely.
they have like lots of black and white tiles on the streets on the sidewalks because of the Portuguese influence. So it's like really pedestrian oriented.
Okay.
I mean, there's the cars and move around pretty easily too. I'll drive my car, but there's a lot of walking areas that would be pretty good on camera.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, well, we keep them to about an hour, and so
Okay.
we're about there. And like I said, we really appreciate your time, and
Yeah.
can't thank you enough. Um,
Yeah.
so
That's
we'll
good that you guys are recording everything too,
yeah.
keeping
So
record of.
Yes.
and I will. So I'll edit it here when we're done, and it'll be on our YouTube page, and I can send you a link if you want when I'm done.
Sure.
So yeah, so I'll do that, and we'll keep in touch, and we'd love to be able to do it again. Maybe switch around the schedule somewhat, so where you can maybe be outside.
Sure.
But we'll have to figure that out because it'd have to be our times are all different. I mean, as far as our
Right.
schedules, that's the only problem. But
Yeah.
anyways, even if you did some video or something and we could share, screen share that or something, we can always do that too. So
Yep.
we will keep you in mind. And again, we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for reaching out.
No problem. Enjoy and be safe over there. And don't be surprised if I come knocking.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one,
See
Kevin.
you, see
Thanks.
you
Yeah.
here when you get here.
All right. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Okay. Take care, you guys.
You too.
Take care.
Well, that was cool. I don't know why the live version just decided to shut off.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
I was going to go back to
Like
it,
I
but it's like there's no
like I
point
said,
now.
luckily it's near the end, but yeah, that was weird. I was literally on the thing and it just and I'm like, all right, well,
Huh.
sorry to anyone. I think there were 4 people watching.
Yeah, I have no idea why it did that. It might be, let me see. Huh. It's still, huh. Not sure why it did that. Huh. Anyways, what we'll do now is anyways, we're about ending here. So we'll just update everyone that was able to watch or will watch later our schedule before we take off here. So obviously we had Kevin Maher on from Macau today. Next weekend we will have Skitchfall on, a pop band that is
Yes.
very similar to Green Day in my opinion, and I'm sure they'd probably get tired of hearing that. Easter, April 5th, we're gonna have Heather Hart from a California girl,
California.
and we are still scheduled to have our rock star Becky back on the 12th for Travel and Supernatural. And the 19th, we're going to have Deanna Motz on. She's another friend from Peck, but she's in Colorado. We're going to talk about travel with her, Peck, obviously, real estate and life transitions at her request. And then the 26th, we're going to have a friend from Croswell who is in Arizona now, Tim Szarzynowski. He was in California for, I think he said like 13 years.
Yeah,
And then
something like that.
he moved out to Arizona. We're going to talk about Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he is a purple belt. And May 3rd, we have Joshua Baker on to talk about Yeshua and his positive message. And he did a video, I think it was yesterday, I commented on. Very good, very solid individual.
Yeah, Josh is awesome.
And May
Great
10th,
things to say.
May 10th, I reluctantly say Mike Tubbs will join us, my former principal from Peck High School. And then the 17th, we have your Cage Corner scheduled. So
Yes.
looking forward to it. And
Rock on.
we appreciate all you guys for just tuning in. And sorry that the live went out. I have no idea why I did that. I'll punch. Well, I was going to say something. I was going to say something
Let
violent.
me can tell you something, huh?
Let us. You know
Mhm.
what? I think it was actually. Now that I think about it, was probably maybe
Timed.
was it an hour? I think it
It
might
might
have.
have been. Mhm.
I guess we know that now. So, anyways, all right, man. Well, we are going to sign off, guys. We really appreciate you tuning in once again, and we look
Absolutely.
forward to bringing you more cool content. Hope you'll like, share, subscribe, and we will see you for Witty Wednesday, hopefully with some cool sound effects and all that good stuff with Reggie the Rat over there.
With Reggie the Rat.
All right. Peace from Grovetown, Georgia.
Peace from Peck, Michigan.